Dear John Key, I write to you to express my dismay at your government's conduct. This is because I see the effects of your negative policies and lack of proper governance around me on a daily basis. I would also like to request that you undertake yourself in an appropriate manner more befitting of your position. There is a certain amount of respect that your position should hold. Clearly this respect works both ways in that the position should be given respect by yourself as well as the public. A loss of respect by those who hold positions of power equals a loss of respect from the public towards those positions. Without you showing due respect for your position, there is no mandate to govern. It's rather simple really. If you don't respect yourself, nobody else will either. Before being elected into power in 2008, National made a number of promises to the public concerning their governance of this country. I succinctly recall National saying that they will reduce the numbers of beneficiaries. However, beneficiary numbers have increased by 200,000 while you have been in power, Mr. Key. We have not even seen the effects of the GST rise or the Christchurch earthquake on this figure yet. The 200,000 more unemployed Kiwis is mainly due to policy changes that have given rise to many more people requiring assistance. I feel that you have manipulated the public into believing National had a plan to create jobs. Clearly you had no plan at all, Mr. Key, and this deception is unacceptable. I recall National saying that you would reduce the gap between New Zealand and Australia. I presumed you meant that wages would become more in line and our standard of living would improve. However, this gap has widened dramatically and our standard of living has decreased while National has been in office. If there was no plan to reduce the gap, National's statement that they would do so is essentially a lie. I also do not think that it is appropriate that you, Mr. Key, receive $45,000 more per year than your Australian counterpart Julia Gillard, as Australia's economy is far larger and functioning way better than ours. I'm very unhappy that the BMWs were purchased when everybody else is tightening our belts. You stated that you had no idea that they were being purchased when later documents showed you had signed off on the deal yourself. This is not proper management and you are either a cold-faced liar or stupid. In either case you have lost my respect, which must now be earned by working hard for it. You can no longer rely on the respect your position is attributed with, through the hard work of your predecessors. There seems to be a culture of corporate welfare within the national government's ranks. This is inherent in the way policies are formulated to benefit private businesses. We can see such unprofessional conduct through things like the trucking laws that benefit one section of transportation at the demise of other, more sustainable transportation processes. The recent deferment loan of $43.3 million taxpayer dollars to MediaWorks, a private overseas company that used to be part-owned by one of your ministers, looks rather dubious. I have a feeling that such secret dealings and the corporate welfare we are aware of is just the tip of the iceberg. While National undertakes what I can only describe as bribes for its rich business friends, you're more than happy, Mr. Key, to allow a culture of benefit bashing to ensue and encourage this through recommendations that would have more relevance in the 17th century. Our most impoverished and neglected people deserve more respect than what you are showing them. There is no retrospective fix for the pain and suffering the national government has caused on the poor through previous archaic policies. However, you can undertake a humanitarian approach in the future. You cannot be oblivious to New Zealand's horrendous child poverty statistics, Mr. Key, even in your ivory tower. Something must change to stop the suffering of the innocent children, and if a change in government is required, then so be it. Even so, Mr. Key, you should show some compassion towards the impoverished children through positive policies and proper goal setting. Without a dramatic change in your government's direction within this area, my vote is assuredly not yours. Speaking of ignoring the will of the people, there is no mandate for the government to seek ownership of the foreshore and seabed. It appears to me to be another form of confiscation so that mineral, oil and gas reserves can be mined without proper recompense going to the public. There is no mandate from the public for you to privatize our beaches. They belong to all of us irrespective of race. As the guardians of these areas, Maori people have also opposed the act of depriving New Zealanders from the wealth that these areas hold. Your manipulation of the Maori people, Mr. Key, to cause a rift between their tribes is not appreciated. Only through retaining our country can we ever hope to benefit from and safeguard our precious inheritance. Likewise, there is no mandate for you to privatize our state-owned assets. There is no evidence to show that privatization is better for the country. It has not increased our standard of living in the past. Rather, it has caused many difficulties within our infrastructure and allowed our assets to be striped with the taxpayer picking up the tab. We must in all cases try to stop the flow of money from going offshore into private hands who have no concern for New Zealand's future. Their only concern is with the money they can make. The cost to the taxpayer to rectify the failure of previous privatization is extensive. We must learn from the past, or we will be doomed to repeat it. What we need, Mr. Key, is strong leadership, which you are currently not exhibiting. We do not want a government that relies on media bias to prop itself up. We do not want propaganda to try and justify negative policies and their predictable eventualities. We want facts and transparency within every area of our governance. In light of the Christchurch earthquake, these requirements are even more relevant. Yours sincerely, the Jackal.